What's up? It's Matt. We're back with another MPTV. This time we're talking restaurants and money with my man, Chris Rogers, AEH Accounting. Chris, welcome to MPTV.
Hey, appreciate it, Matt. Happy to talk about restaurants, happy to talk about money, and more specifically, what restaurants should be looking for.
So it's kind of weird because when we met a couple years ago, we worked out at the same gym.
Yep.
I didn't know who you were. I don't think you knew who I was. Then we kind of figured out that each one of us was in the same world.
Yep.
And we did a video pre-Matt Plapp Orange. I think I was wearing blue or maybe black.
And it was pre-AEH.
Yeah, it was when you were with a different market or a different accounting firm.
Yep.
And ironically, it's been one of the better videos I've had organically on YouTube. So apparently restaurants must be looking for how to use their money a little better.
I think it's understanding what are the things I have to know about my business from a dollars perspective to help it drive forward, right? I think because I get phone calls from that thing.
Yeah.
Like, how many years ago was it?
Oh, it was like, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago, and I still get phone calls.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's absolutely something in that says, hey, we want to know more about the fundamentals that are going to help us drive better margins.
Yeah. So let's start with a topic that's easy for me, marketing.
Yeah.
And I want to get your opinion because a lot of times I hear myself and you convince yourself that you're right. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm pretty damn right on a lot of things, but I'm sure there's the elements like accounting that I'm not that damn good at. But I was just talking to a restaurant owner.
You're not very good at running either.
Running, yeah, you are pretty fast.
Yeah.
By the way, this guy, don't ever race him because it's like racing a car. Like you're like a deer or something. I don't even want to go there.
Don't race this guy in burpees.
There we go. I am fast in burpees.
Okay.
So I'm talking to this restaurant owner just now. He has 2 locations, 2 different brands, but the one brand we started working with 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
And we did a trial program for him that we do for some clients to give him an idea of what's possible. Because the problem in marketing is most restaurants and most businesses have never seen tangible efforts from their marketing. Mm-hmm. They boost a Facebook post for $100. They see a bunch of likes. I wasted $100. Well, you don't know that. It might have worked great, but you just don't have a way to measure it.
Yep.
So this particular client, and I already know the metrics in my head because I just talked to him 20 minutes ago. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue or not, Matt. What do you think? I said, well, we spent $653 on your behalf. 48%, almost 50% of the people that came in told us they were either brand new or they hadn't been in a long time, which we call them lost. It had 15% of the people walked in. It did $7,000 in net sales after the discount because they got like free order boneless wings, I think was the thing. Okay. He did boneless because wings are so freaking expensive now.
Right.
So he did boneless wings. But he did right around, let's say $8,000 in sales, mm-hmm. of which 50% said they were new or lost. So that's $4,000. His only true cost to that was the advertising mm-hmm. and the food cost. Mm-hmm. So if you got a 30% food cost on $4,000, you got $1,200. Mm-hmm. So you're at $2,800. You got $600 on the marketing. You're at $2,200. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yeah, I think the mistake is not accounting for that food cost as marketing spend. Yeah. Right. So many say I'm giving away free food, and don't think of that as that's actual marketing dollars you are spending to get higher top line dollars through the door.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really where you have to look at. That's not a cost of goods, right? Your margin isn't impacted by that because that is now an operating expense. It's an advertising cost. And
that's why I talked to an operator a long time ago about that because he incentivized his managers with different margins. Mm-hmm. And their managers hated what we were doing. And I said, why do you guys hate it? And I'm not getting my profit checks.
Yep, they're not getting their bonus off.
And I'm like, well, I explained what you're talking about. And they explained it. And I said, well, this is marketing. Like this shouldn't be hitting your food cost because it's in essence, we're spending $600 on Facebook and Instagram ads. Mm-hmm. And then we're spending another $1,200 for us to do it. Mm-hmm. And we're doing a bunch of other things. Let's say $300 of our $1,200 goes to that. So we're at $900. Mm-hmm. And then you got, $1,200 in food you gave away. So you're at $2,200, in my opinion, goes to the marketing budget.
No, it's absolutely where it goes, right? And if you take a look at large organizations, right, where they're giving away food as an incentive, that giveaway is a marketing cost. It is not a cost of goods at all. It does not go against their margin, right? And you would expect that. So we could dive into the details of some of the larger publicly traded restaurant groups and find that out that way.
And that's why my explanation to this owner, I said, well, here's the way I look at it, because he asked my opinion. He's like, hey, I'm not a marketing guy. He trusts me enough to to know I'm going to give him honest advice. Because I tell people all the time, like, if you don't want to work with us, I'll give you honest advice. Like, if what we're doing for you isn't working, it's not. It's pretty clear. If it is, it's pretty damn clear too. And if it's in between, I'll give you a good, bad, and the ugly. But I looked at his and I said, well, I look at this. If I take out the marketing spend, the food cost, and I look at just the new and the lost customers, you've got $2,200 or so net profit because you have nothing else going against it. Your people were here, your electric was here, your water was here, your rent was here. That paid for itself the next couple months. And that's not even taking into account that you've got 1,500 people that in 6 weeks said, here's my name, my gender, my visit frequency, my email, birthday, and phone number.
Yep.
The goal is to get those 1,500 people back 20, 30, 40 more times, and now it's pure profit.
Absolutely. And that, I think, is the intangible aspect of the marketing, especially the marketing specifically that your group does, right? Is we are building a database for you to continue to drive after and build back in. And that's the intangible that people don't see. They're like, oh, okay, I'm spending 600 something in ads, and then I spent another 1,300 in food, right? What did I get for that, right? And I think you said at the one point, or somebody said to you can't deposit likes. Well, you are depositing likes. Yeah. Right? That's exactly what that is.
I think it's good the fact that you took the like a little farther. It's like you gave, instead of giving somebody a high five, you gave them a hug and grabbed their wallet, and now you have their driver's license.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about marketing percentages, because that's always a question I get asked. And obviously, your costs, your overhead of your restaurant. You might have a restaurant that's in Crestview Hills Town Center that's costing you $15,000 a month. You might have one that's in a strip center in Erlanger that's costing you $4,000 a month. You're in my opinion, a lot of times when you have those higher rents and those higher traffic places, like we were at a restaurant in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, right on UNC's campus, their advertising is their freaking rent because you're on campus.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're advertising. You shouldn't have to advertise because you're sitting in front of 60,000 kids every day.
Agreed. Yeah.
But outside of that, a normal restaurant, $1 million is a good benchmark. What kind of money should a restaurant be investing in their advertising? I mean, is there a rock solid percentage, or is it all over?
Well, I'd say everybody's all over, especially the small independent owned shops. They're kind of down near zero, right? Because I can't spend. But my argument is you can't afford to not spend, right?
You're starving your ad budget.
So take away the restaurant aspect. Let's just go to a business in general, right? Most businesses have sales teams, right? You don't have a sales team. Your sales team is the front of house, right? So they're not out knocking on doors and calling people in and getting people to come in the door. You're also not out there on, say, TV, which we can't measure either as a result. So marketing spend needs to be closer, in my opinion, somewhere between, say, 7 and 10%, right? Of a legitimate kind of, hey, we need to get out there, get our name known, get awareness, right? You got to build awareness, and you can't do it on scrimping and saving, right? You can't do it on a penny budget. You got to put some real money towards it. So 7 to 10%, right? It's still lower than your occupancy, right? Your occupancy is 10 to 12, right? So in that range seems to make sense.
And why is it that marketing is that thing that everybody hates? Because I look at it from a standpoint, if I've got a restaurant that I've got a company here that we've worked our butt off to build. I love to tell people about it. I love to get out there. I mean, we've got the vans on the road. I've got sales teams. We've got camera crews. We've got ads running. If I don't find people to know, like, and trust my brand and let them experience it, how am I going to survive? And I think restaurants, you've got people that have put their blood, sweat, and tears into their wings and their beef stroganoff and their lasagna, pizzas, and they do not want to spend money to tell people about it. I don't get it.
So I think the problem is the disconnect, right? So you're passionate about getting your brand out there, getting people to know you, and you want to share that, right? But you're a marketer, right? These restaurateurs, they're food people, right? They're passionate about their food, and they feel like their food should be what sells everything. The problem is, if I don't know about you, I don't know about your food. And that's what they're missing is I can't know your food if I don't know you're even there. Right? So it's just a disconnect in what their passion is, right? My passion for me is numbers and helping small businesses kind of understand those numbers and how they drive their business forward. My passion isn't, oh, hey, everybody know about AEH accounting and how we do debits and credits, right? No, it's what drives that. And so how do I get psychologically behind that restaurant owner to say, look, you want your food to be the spotlight? You got to put yourself in the spotlight first. And that entails getting your face in front of people, and that's marketing.
and they'll spend money on lots of stuff. Like I walk in restaurants. I walk in restaurants and I'll see the build outs. You know, there's a restaurant down here in Union. What is the name of Boomtown? The new Boomtown location.
Yep.
I don't know what they spent on this giant 20-something foot long sofa bench seat,
but they spent something.
They spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And I always wonder, okay, you put that much. Now, granted, I'm not saying them. I don't have no clue what they do marketing wise. I don't even know the owners. But I look at that. I live in Union. I've not been targeted with any marketing. And I went there once, and it was a decent experience. I like it. My wife doesn't like the vibe. I like it. But I look at that bench seat. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, they had it made down so-and-so and shipped up here. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to guess 15, 20 grand. I mean, it's not cheap. And I look at that from a marketing. I'm like, okay, could that have been bought for 5 grand, not as elaborate, and 10 grand put into an account to acquire customers? Because that sofa ain't acquiring it's acquiring a butt when it sits down, but if there's not a butts on it, who cares?
Who cares, right? You can have the fanciest restaurant out there, and if you don't get butts in those seats, what was the point of spending that money on that fancy furniture and equipment, right? Versus, you tell me if I'm wrong. I like Waltz, right?
It's amazing, great food.
But their furniture's not 5 grand for a freaking seat.
And the chair's been there for like 4 years.
Right.
40 years.
40 years. It might fall apart when you sit on it. I don't know. No, the seat, it's great. And they don't overspend on that stuff. They're well enough. I think they're well known enough now. They don't do a ton of necessary marketing. I mean,
they need to do some.
But they are well known enough that, hey, we've got our brand out there.
I think it's like page 78 of my new book.
Is it really?
Yeah. You haven't read my new book?
I haven't read your new
You're
book
dead
yet.
to me. You're dead to me.
I'm busy reading this book right now.
I need to have a button in here, like the security come in and take you out of the studio.
I'm still trying to read Sell More Slices, all right?
Okay, there we go. So accounting wise, what are a couple things? This has been a weird past 18 months. We had PPP, which came out, and everybody was scrambling. Do I take it? I know restaurants that didn't take it.
They're insane.
Well, because early on the rules were like, if you can't spend it on payroll, if you can't, there was a lot of restaurants going, man, can I do this? I'm closed. And then they didn't take it. And I
remember we did a podcast about it, and there were ones like, we're not going to do it.
I know a couple people that one guy gave back 150 grand because he's like, I don't know that I can use it under these guidelines. I don't want to get in trouble. And then like 3 months later, like, screw the guidelines. Just click this box that you needed it.
Yep.
and I remember him going, well, that sucked.
Yeah, no, I mean, good point. So what are some things to think about? So obviously PPP has come and gone, but we're still in the get it forgiven phase, right? And I get calls all the time now. Is my PPP loan forgiven? I don't know. Did you apply for forgiveness? 1. 2, I'm getting emails about my PPP loan. Okay, did you apply for forgiveness, right? And it's not a hard process. I don't care whether you went through a traditional bank, one of those online banks, anything like that.
I did it. I did both
exactly.
of them.
If you can do it, then anybody can, right?
An idiot when it comes to that stuff.
So, well, I know some that are worse than you, but have been able to do it. So you've got that one. Then you've got that economic injury disaster loan, right? And gosh, I hoped restaurants apply for that one as well.
Is that what EIDL stood for?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you said economic injury, I was like thinking the initials. I'm like, that's EIDL. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So the EIDL loan, right? But the EIDL loan also has the provision to now increase that loan, right? Yep. So, look, I'm not the world's biggest fan of debt for no reason, but it's cheap money, right? And it can help curtail your operating costs and really open up the avenue to spend more on things like marketing that can pay off higher dividends in the long run, right? So you're looking at what is it, 3.25%, something like that? It's really low rate. So 3.25% loan on a 30 years term,
24 month deferral on the payment,
and yet you can then go and spend money on something like this, where you're saying, hey, let's get 4 or 5 times our money by getting more butts in seats, more turn, more awareness, more eyes, right? So it's a huge advantage there. The other one that I think a lot of people may or may not, or I think they're less aware of, is the employee retention credit, right? Yeah. And the restaurants are absolutely in play for this, right? So there's kind of 2 criteria. The first criteria being, were you shut down at any point by the government? Yeah. All right, so now I qualify. In a given quarter over quarter, say 2020 to 2019, was I down 50%? And then at what?
50.
Okay. And then
a quarter.
And every quarter thereafter until I recovered to 80% of the prior year's sales, right? So I guarantee you were shut down, so you're definitely less than half, right? And then you're going to look at your quarter over quarter and be like, oh, hang on. I didn't recover to 80% of sales until Q3 of this year, right? Crap. That's a ton of money coming back to you in the form of either a payroll tax credit or a payroll tax refund, right? So it's the employer portion of the payroll taxes. Those are effectively refunded to you, and I think it's like $7,000 a quarter per employee, something like that.
And that's not restaurant specific. That's
everybody.
That's business, yeah.
But restaurants probably aren't thinking
heavy payroll,
right? They're not thinking about that, and you have significant payroll numbers, especially if you're a multi-unit operator, right? And so you really should be looking at that, working with your accountant or your payroll company, either one, to take advantage of the retention tax credit. So those are some things there. But then overall, the other thing we're really concerned about is the rising cost of food and the lack of labor, which means the rising cost of labor, right? So, historically, you said 30%. I think 30% is actually high for food costs, but now I think it's not anymore. I think we're getting into that range where we have to be realistic with, if we're going to run a 30% food cost, we have to start thinking about raising our prices, right? And I know some restaurants have, right? It's just a reality of the situation we're in. But it's really looking at that saying, okay, if my food is running 30 and my labor is running 30, well, shit, that's not much. I'm not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
All right, good. There's not that much left over for the OpEx, right? Because if I'm going 30, 30, 10 on occupancy and
marketing and everything
10
else.
on marketing, shoot, 30, 60, 70, 80. What am I going to pay myself, right? There's still other costs. So the biggest thing to start thinking about is, okay, I need to raise prices most likely, which, that affects all of us, right? Because my negotiating power with my suppliers just doesn't exist. I'm not going to be able to reduce my food costs really significantly at all. And I sure as heck can't skimp on labor because labor is not coming in the door. Yep. So especially long time kind of mom and pop stores need to sit here and start thinking about, gosh, I've never had to raise prices on my customers. And you really need to think about doing that now.
So talking about prices, we'll get back to the prices there. You don't know this, but I think you knew I was getting a Red Bull machine. I got a refrigerator comment. It's coming next couple of weeks, but the Red Bull showed up today. And so we have in the office $700 in Red Bull because we had to buy up front to get the free fridge, and then we'll order throughout there. But I was looking at this because I run into a lot of restaurants. I don't drink a lot. I try to drink soft drinks all the time. I don't drink alcohol. And so like when I go to a restaurant and friends are drinking bourbon and Coke, I'll get a Red Bull on ice. It makes me feel like I'm a big boy. But the number of restaurants I go to that don't have it, and I hear
cherry in it. Okay.
I hear this excuse like, oh, the employees are stealing it, or we don't sell it. And I'm thinking, I got it today, and Tanya was like, we looked at all these cases of Red Bull, 19 cases, and I looked at it, and I did the math, and I marked it up, and I'm like, damn, pretty good profit if I'm a restaurant selling Red Bull.
Yep.
And the number of restaurants I go to that don't sell it, and like I had a restaurant who said, well, we quit doing it because employees were stealing it, drinking it behind the bar. I'm like, well, then charge your employees. I mean, do inventory control. Before the shift, this many Red Bulls are in the fridge. After the shift, this many were gone. We sold this many. You owe for 3 Red Bulls or whatever. I can't imagine somebody drink 3 Red Bulls, but there's little products like that you can add on that are going to increase. Because I can't tell you how many times I've been to a restaurant that I wanted a sugar-free Red Bull, and I end up getting a water that costs nothing. Instead of getting a Red Bull, they charged me $4 for that they paid $1.60 for.
Yep. Yeah, small things like that. But again, the theft thought, and it's real, and it happens across the board. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether it's a Red Bull, whether it's food, that Coke that they pour out of the fountain, that's theft as well if you really think about it.
Yep.
So yeah, it is inventory control, but that really then is incumbent on having good management, right? Whether you have a GM, an assistant GM, you got to hold them accountable at the end of the day. And then you, of course, if you're just an owner-operator, which is great, you better have a handle on that inventory, right? Across the board, so that you know what's coming in and what's going out, because you don't want to miss on the opportunity to upsell. Like you said, you just lost out on what? $240 in margin.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Yeah. It's huge.
You get 10 of those a night times $324.
$24.
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And David Scott Peters in his book, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, talks about, and I've heard him talk about it. He said, you take those, let's say 15 items that are things that people might steal. And at the beginning of a shift, the person that's in charge of that, if it's the chef in charge of the steaks, if it's this person in charge of the Red Bull, this person in charge of the restaurant that sold cigars. If there's something that has a high propensity to go bye-bye, And you literally take it and you say, I've got 24 Red Bulls in the fridge right now. And at the end of the shift, the person goes back to that piece of paper and they put, I got 20 now. They learn really quick. They got to be able to show the point of sale shows 4 Red Bulls sold. And the theft goes away.
Yep. And then if there's a Red Bull that's in the point of sale that starts getting marked down as a 0, right, as a no sale, well, we know who we're looking at now, right? Because it's the same person.
And that's what his comment was. He said a lot of times people, they don't do that. He's like, oh, it's hard. And he always says, boo-hoo is his big thing. He's like, it's not hard. It takes 5 minutes before and after. But what happens is when you do it, you now all of a sudden, there's no guessing. Nope. Mike was in charge of the bar. He did the inventory pre and post, and it's off by 2. Mike, where are my 2 Red Bulls? Jose, where are my 5 steaks? Where's my rack of ribs? They got to be accounted for. They're either eaten, ruined in the garbage, or stolen.
Yep. And it's really getting that mindset in of run the business, right? And that's what most owner operators aren't doing. They're not running the business. They're working in the business.
Business is running them.
Exactly. And so they're managing by the bank account balance. They're not really thinking about of inventory control, of how do I drive sales into this place, right? They're just getting worked to death instead of taking a breath, stepping out and saying, what processes and procedures can I put in place to run the business instead of being run by the business?
Yep.
And that's huge, right? It's a simple sheet like this piece of paper right here, right? All right, I've got 5.
I got 5 on it.
Oh, gosh. No. We're not going there, are we?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay, break time. Restaurant owners, you're watching MPTV, so you're obviously interested in increasing your sales and profits. But what if I told you could eliminate the hope and pray out of your marketing? You could spend money and actually see results. Most marketing starts with attention, like a billboard. The problem is that attention leads nowhere. That's why we created the ROI Engine Restaurant Program. We take attention and gain huge engagement, whether it's in-store or online. We help you build a database with deep customer information that's comprised of email, cell phone, and birthday. And then we drive them into the restaurant with trackable results. Yes, results you can actually see. If you're interested and want to have a conversation, check out restaurantmarketingthatworks.com. Worst case scenario, you get a lot of great ideas. Now back to the show. Okay, so last topic. What's something else we need to know about accounting-wise? We talked about PPP. We talked about EIDL. We talked about, which I learned is economic
disaster loan.
Okay, didn't know what it's so for. And we talked about the payroll tax. We talked about food costs, prices. I'm going to come back to that. So met Barleycorns recently. Love their dock-style wings. If you ever go to Northern Kentucky, Barleycorns dock-style wings are gold.
I've been to Barleycorns, never had dock-style wings.
What the hell's wrong with you? You have never.
I don't even know what that means.
They're double fried. So they
I thought all wings were double fried.
They fry the wings, put them in hot sauce, and then pop them back in there, and they come out. They're crispy. Their blue cheese is fire. But they went to market pricing recently.
Smart.
Well, the thing for me that is kind of comical, I heard a restaurant say, I can't do that. My customers. I'm like, dude, you realize I don't even look at the price. I couldn't tell you what it cost for dock style. If I go there once a week and get dock style wings, I don't even look at the menu.
If I go there once a week, this isn't going to be as trim. So
if I walk up, well, what happens there? You get
that's where the fat.
Oh, the fat. I thought you meant your beard. I'm like, does hair grow faster? I might want to eat more. No. But I don't even look at the price. And I love, like, the lady at one time recently said, hey, by the way, I don't know if you know, our wings are market price now. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't really care. I'll take large order dock style, blue cheese on the side, hot sauce on the side, some Saratoga chips, and a sugar-free Red Bull and ice because they have it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, a lot of restaurants are scared to raise. They think that consumers are going to notice everything. And majority of them don't notice a damn thing, especially if it's a product like that that they really want.
That's what they want. Yeah. If you want it, you will buy it.
Yeah.
Right. You have this mental cue to go in and say, this is what I want. I'm going to buy this. Right. So now maybe I would notice if you went from, say, $12 for a large
to 20.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If you're doubling your price, I'm going to notice that, and I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But $1, $2, $3, I'm not going to notice that.
Yep.
I mean, there's another restaurant just over here that went from $9 burgers a couple years ago, and it eventually is now up to $15 burgers. Nobody really noticed. They kept coming in. They're still buying the burgers, right? that's what you're there for.
Now, what I do notice is the people that put these BS costs on there. Like I was staying at the Bellagio a couple years ago. No shit, they had a water surcharge. I'm like, you're the morons with the fountain.
That's not your problem. Yeah.
What? Are you kidding me? Like, what's going on here? And Wynn Casino had the same thing because I think Wynn went from Bellagio to there. But I've seen restaurants do. I saw one the COVID charge. They had like this extra fee. I've seen
the mask charge.
Yeah, they had this different charge on there that they were increasing like $2, and it was a mandatory this or a delivery charge. Like, you know what? Just raise your prices because if people know, like, and trust your brand, and they come in for it, especially if it's an item they love. And you know what? If
you're known for it.
Yeah, if you're known for this product and you sell 1,000 of them, and this product you're not, and you sell 50 of them, don't raise the 50, raise the one that's 1,000 by $1, and next thing you know, you just created $1,000 in pure profit a week.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like a pizza joint raising their pizzas $1. So what? If Papa John's raised their pizza by $1, is anybody gonna notice?
No, they're ordering Papa John's.
Right.
Yeah.
And that ultimately helps them raise their margins back up because the supply chain is where it's at. That now we've started to pair out what people are going to get in their margins, optimally what's going to go in their back pocket.
Anything we missed that we need to talk about?
I mean, I think those are the big hitters right now, right? I mean, there's always things within this industry that people can look at, nitpick on, but these are the big ones right now, and they're really kind of prevalent and really, I'd say time sensitive, especially the retention tax credit. You got to get that in, right? There's whatever that bill is that they're working on might change and actually limit the ability to take that credit through the third quarter, not the fourth quarter. So you got to get that stuff and really pay attention to it.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
Well, cool. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you having me out, man.
So last question I always ask, airplane mode. I turned my phone on airplane mode when we got in here so it doesn't ring. What does Chris Rogers do on airplane mode? You're a driven entrepreneur. You have a lot of things going on. What do you do to turn it off and focus on life, family, and you?
It's real easy. I actually put the phone down, right? It goes down. It sits on a desk out in the front, and I spend time with my family. Spend it with them, listen to them, actually engage with this kind of eye contact level. Because the minute you're here and somebody's talking to you,
you have no clue what's going on.
No, yeah, and I mean, I've got what, two older teenagers.
You got a kid that's like 40. You got a kid that's like 40 and a kid that's like 2.
Right. Yeah, let's go 17, 15, and 3. But
oops,
that 3. Well, yeah. Oops is right. But that 3-year-old, right, if we're sitting here like this on our phone and she's trying to talk to us, that's a behavior she's going to start to learn and pick up, right? Versus you put that phone down and says, do you want to play with me? Sure. I don't know what the hell we're going to play. Yeah, let's go play dolls, color, whatever. But this, you got to get down and engage with them. Put the freaking phone down. Check out. And deep workspace is great, right? Because it's the same concept. Put the phone down, get engaged for just whatever, 30 minutes, an hour with whomever. And even if that whomever is yourself, like my other thing I do, I work out just like you, right?
Yep.
If I don't do it, my brain goes to mush.
Yep.
So
I love it.
All right, man.
Well, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being on. MPTV, another one in the books. And by the way, he mentioned Deep Work Studios. The space here is Deep Work Space. There's a book by Cal Newport called Deep Work that inspired this. It teaches you to learn the importance of getting out of your business, getting out of your phone, out of your email, and learning to take your business to the next level. It's helped me a lot. I hope you pick up that book. It's a great read. But also in this episode, we talked about some great things, the idle loans, the different tax credits, the PPP. If you do not have financial professionals helping you, legal professionals helping you, marketing professionals helping you, that's why you're losing, because you do not have the right advice. I implore you, find people like Chris, get the right help, get the right advice, and take your restaurant to the next level. That's all we got for this episode of MPTV. We'll see you later.